It's the Love You to Life podcast. Yeah. It's the Love You to Well,
Um, that's definitely not the jingle. Definitely not.
well,
Definitely.
listen, if y'all don't know this about me in my personal life, I make up songs a lot. Like, I dance a lot. I make up songs a lot for no good reason. I think this
Sometimes
is
they
our
work,
family.
and sometimes they don't.
Wait a minute. Does our whole family do it or is it just me? I think I do it the most, probably.
You
I don't
probably do it the most, but does
know.
Tammy do it? I don't know if Tammy does it. We definitely, I definitely do it, but
Sometimes I do that when my daughter is upset about something and I can't figure out what she's doing. I
and
just
she look
stop.
at her like she crazy too.
She looks at me like I'm so crazy. She be like, "Lady, what are you doing?" And I'll be singing, making up some kind of song for her. But whatever. Welcome back to another episode of the Love You to Life podcast, where we are loving you to life. I'm Elizabeth White. That is.
Kevlin Day.
Hey, listen, we're so glad you joined us today. And listen, we want you to make sure you are subscribed, make sure you are sharing, make sure you are interacting. We have got some hot fire for you today. Hot fire. It's hot fire. It's hot
That's what she called it. She
fire.
called it hot fire.
I did call it hot fire. I told Calvin, I said, this is hot fire, and here's why. Here's why. In my coaching, you guys know that I'm a board certified life coach and I'm a licensed mental health counselor. And so in my board certified life coaching world, my passion project is working with women who are high achievers with bad boundaries, people that feel guilty when they say no, people that are maybe stuck in people pleasing, people that are easily overwhelmed. And so everything looks great on paper. Like they have these fabulous careers, great credit, beautiful homes, all those things. But something is just missing on the inside. And so I come alongside them to help them really do what? Love their
Love
lives.
it.
Yes. And so that is my passion project on my life coaching side of the world. And so I talk to a lot of women who are tired, and they're not tired because they are weak. They are tired because they are stuck in a pattern that needs to be broken so that they can actually show up and be their full selves. Because when you are stuck in patterns that don't work for you and you just keep doing the same thing over and over and over, it becomes a grind. And where
Mm.
there is grind, it's not necessarily grace. And we want to switch on over to the grace side and not the grind side. So how do you know if I'm talking about you? If you are a high achieving woman and everything looks good on paper, you have great titles, maybe great income. Here's the thing. If you're the reliable one, if you are the spiritual one, the one that everybody calls to pray, if you are the strong one, if that is you, you are probably the person I'm talking to because you fit that prototype. But then let's go behind the door. What people may not know about you behind closed doors is that you are exhausted and you don't even know why anymore. Like, what day is it? And
Mm.
why do I want to be in the day? Like, what am I doing here? Well, listen, there are 4 different patterns that I have seen over and over and over in my clients. And so what I have done is made a little quiz. I made a little quiz about these 4 patterns. If you want to take the quiz, it's going to be linked below. And here's the thing,
Correct.
it'll take you 2 minutes. There's no charge for the quiz. It's just 8 simple questions that's going to tell us where you fit in the archetype. And here's the title of the quiz. It reveals which go-to girl pattern is running your life.
My God, my God.
Which go-to girl pattern is running your life? And so I created this quiz. It's not a personality quiz. It is a pattern quiz. It is about identifying your survival wiring that's in your spirit, in your mind that might keep you stuck. Because here's the thing. One of my posts that I made on TikTok, I even said this. I said, what used to keep you safe is now keeping you stuck. And for
Mm.
many of us high achieving women, the fact that we could quote unquote do it all, the fact that we were reliable, the fact that we were dependable, the fact that we are organized and orderly was something that we might have needed to get to a certain space in life or to come through a certain system that we were originally in. But then you get to this point where that pattern and that structure no longer serves you. And if you keep doing it, you no longer soar. You now get stuck. Thoughts, Gavin?
Yeah, and so here's why I like this idea. I like it first and foremost because we're not talking about who you are. we're talking about what you're doing.
Mhm.
And I think there is a distinct like shift that has to occur because people think like, well, this is just who I am. I've always been this way. This is just my personality. This is, like and we just very much internalize this as like part of our DNA when actually it is a pattern and you
Right.
can disrupt the pattern. So I really love that this is not about like personality and it's not about like your like your core essence. It's
Mhm.
really about how you're showing up. And in some regards, it's like for some of us, I think it's probably like this is kind of how you respond to stress or trauma or difficulty or what have you. So you kind of will like revert back to the old kind of core. But your who you are, your true essence is not this person. Like, what you do on like the patterns of behavior that's identified through the quiz is really about like how you have responded to the life that you're living. It doesn't have to be how you respond in the future. So it definitely is like this is a behavioral thing. And
Mhm.
so I think it's really, really important that we are really clear like you get to do it differently, but this is about that awareness piece with which we typically are missing.
Right. And here's the thing. I think when you boil it down to a behavior and a pattern, then it's really easier to work through it.
Right.
Because it's not you. What we're talking about is how we get back to the true you when you
Right.
let go of these behaviors and these patterns. And we're all on the same page. I hope we all can all agree that maybe there was a time in life when this pattern felt necessary, when it
Oh,
seemed
for
like something
sure.
you really needed to do. But if it's now costing you peace or joy or energy, then we want you to start thinking about doing something different. So I'm going to introduce the first archetype to you. And if I'm honest, which I am with y'all, we in the Love You to Life podcast, we tell the truth here. This is probably where I would find myself. Okay,
Mm.
ready? Number one, the overgiving achiever. You got something you want to say?
I have
Don't say,
nothing. I have
don't
nothing
say
to
that
say.
to me because I'm going to tell them where you are when it's your
I tell
turn.
myself. So you ain't gotta tell me. I tell myself.
Okay, so here, the overgiving achiever. She's competent, she's efficient, she's the one who always delivers. Now let's pause as I'm going through them. I want you to be checking your heart. Yeah, what they say at church, all minds and hearts clear. I want you to be checking your
Mm.
mind and your heart. See if this is you, okay? She is competent, efficient, the one who always delivers. Her calendar is full, her name is respected, but internally she feels behind and Imma say she feels behind always, right? And the reason why I say always is because always is not true because you can't be
Right.
behind every single time, right?
Right.
So she probably is to the extreme. That's why I'm including that in there. All right. And she wakes up thinking, oh my God, I'm already behind. I need to get moving. She says yes to last minute favors and figures things out later. She'll work the details out later. Her body feels wired and tired all the time. When she rests, she hears this little voice that says, you should be doing something. You should be doing more. Don't waste this time resting. You should be doing something. Okay.
Mm.
And she is tired because she has confused her worth with productivity. That she is
Mm.
valuable because she's always moving. She's always doing something. And she also is tired because she thinks that slowing down is losing her edge. Like she's getting
Right.
behind. She's not keeping up. And she also has this nervous system that has forgotten what it means to be done. Like, if that
Mhm.
is you, where you when you're done, you feel like you gotta go to the next thing that you really can't be done, then
Right.
you are probably in this category, could be in this category of the, overgiving achiever. Alright, so what she needs to do next, she does not need to shrink. She needs support that allows her to keep her ambition without destroying herself. So, if you are an achiever, we're not telling you not to be ambitious. We're just
Right.
telling you to have aligned ambition, that your ambition needs to align with your true heart, with your true goals, with your true dream and vision, and that is not something that is got to be tied up with you being busy all the time, working all the time, or over giving. I think we talked about this on another podcast episode. One of my TikTok that went viral, I mean, like people just still respond to this months later now, is when I said that over giving is not generosity, it is self neglect.
Mm.
There were people who did not understand what I meant by that. I had to go in and qualify it a little bit more. But so many more people totally knew what I
Right.
was. Because when you are an overgiver in your time or you are an overgiver in your money, uh, it is eventually neglectful to you,
Right.
right? I think on another episode of the podcast, we probably talked about what it means when you are sharing your money with folks who maybe don't deserve to be shared with, right? Someone who's irresponsible in your circle, or someone who makes really bad decisions, or someone who will not take the effort that they need to try to make a different decision regarding their finances, and you bail them out. Eventually, you are neglectful with yourself by continuing to bail out other people. So if you hear yourself in the high achieving over giver, make sure that you pop below and take that quiz. It'll take you about 3 minutes. Take that quiz and see if some of those questions are going to tell you that that really is you, that you are the high achieving over giver. All right, that leads me to Catalin. Yeah, that leads me to the next one. And she found herself on the quiz. Now listen, when we're finding ourselves on the quiz, there's ranges to this, right? So I'm not exactly look I don't show up exactly the same way I used to, but I definitely know this girl. I know
Mhm.
the high achieving overgiver, and she and I were running mates for the longest time, but now I can love her and take care of her and live my life a different way, and that's what I help my coaching clients do. So, Catalin found herself, her older self, on the resentful supporter. Wanna tell the people about that one?
So, no. No, I'm just kidding.
You gonna have to tell it, cause here
No,
it
so I really do. I here's the thing. When you're going through the questions, you will as you're answering the questions, you'll have one where you're like, I want it to be this answer, but it's actually this answer. Like if you
comes.
you need to be honest with yourself when you're going through the questions. And so I was honest, and this is definitely what came up. And so the resentful supporter is the backbone of the family.
Mhm.
And the thing I think about the backbone of the family is sometimes you don't be paying attention to your back until it hurts. Like
Oh,
you
Jesus.
when you think about like all like you could be twisting, turning, lifting, doing all this stuff, you're like, oh yeah, and all of that envires your spine. And
Yeah, it
what's
does.
also funny is that I've had issues with my spine. So that's why it was it's very edge snatchy. Anyway, so you're typically the reliable friend. You're the person who can be like that emotional 911. So you might be that person like people will come to dump stuff on you. Like, and you just, hold your hands out and carry it. Your very first thought in the morning is typically going to be something along the lines of what all do I need to do today? Who needs today? How can I keep it rolling today? You're just very lots and lots of survival thoughts. Oftentimes this person who shall remain nameless agrees to things because nobody else is going to do it.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Now, this one I thought was rude.
What?
Her body feels heavy, and that's not necessarily a weight thing, but it's just a pressure thing. It's tense and like she's carrying an invisible weight. And when I was reading through this, the thing that came to mind was when I got shingles.
Oh, way
Because
too young
I
for
got
that.
shingles when I was in my 30s, so relatively young, relatively healthy person. I didn't have any like I wasn't immunocompromised, but I had this headache that I thought, am I having a stroke? What is happening? And I went to the doctor and they're like, well, where did this rash come from? I'm like, what rash? Didn't even realize I had a rash, y'all. And then they're like, I don't think this is a headache. I think this is shingles. And I'm like, "You gotta be that's for old people. I don't get shingles." But the number one sh like, risk factor for shingles is stress.
Mhm.
You
Mm,
carrying all this stuff until your nervous system literally just says, "I'm done," and just
I'm out.
and erupts a chickenpox vaccine, a chickenpox, a virus from when you were 5. Like, your body's like, "I'm done." And the thing about it is when I had shingles, y'all, I was out. I could not like I could take medication to get through the pain and the medication would knock me out. I just had to be like off. And it took me a while to get through it, but I really believe it was cuz my body was just like, I'm done. I'm just like done. I'm not going to kill you, but you're going to sit your butt down.
Mhm.
So that was the resentful supporter in me. She is gone. She's gone. But the tired that you feel when you're in this zone is you are everybody else's support system, but you don't either have one or believe that you have one, right? Because sometimes you have one, you're just not tapping into it. You rarely say no. You feel lots of guilt, right? Lots of guilt, and you feel responsibility for fixing all the things.
Yeah.
And the most important thing for a person who's in this category is that you find reciprocal relationships. And that is the number one thing that if I'm really looking back to when I was in the thick of it, I did not have a lot of reciprocal relationships. I was a mom, so your kid, you know, it's like I have all these kids. Your kids cannot give you a reciprocal relationship. I
Yeah.
wasn't into a marriage that I was in a marriage that was not reciprocal, and I had not invested in friendships. I had a couple of friendships, but I wasn't really like closely attached to them because like I moved and I hadn't really invested in like regrowing my friendship network. So you have to have those reciprocal relationships and you have to recognize that boundaries are love. They are not cruel.
Right. You
So if
know,
you're a mom, especially a single mom,
yeah.
probably gonna find yourself in this one, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think you bringing up the shingles is such an important part because so many times we are not connecting the dots between our physical and our emotional, and you
Mhm.
really cannot separate them. That nervous system is here for a reason. It's regulating everything. And so
Yeah,
when we overload it, it's going to tell us. So sometimes I want to just encourage some of us, our nervous systems are screaming when we say yes.
yes,
Our nervous systems are screaming. They're like, "What are you doing? When are you gonna take a break? When are you gonna rest your mind or your body?"
right,
And our nervous systems are tired of us overlooking and overgiving. And
right,
so, yes, I think, it's great to be loving and kind and to look out for other people, but your first responsibility is to look out for you. So that's
100%.
that's number 1. Okay, so then you said you also kind of resonated with the ner
Well, not as much with this one, but there's a little bit there. And this one is the what we call the numb strong friend.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So this one is like you've been strong for so long, you don't even know what you feel anymore.
Mm,
You know, like you're like, well, I was mad, well, I was sad, and I this one I resonates to so much because if we were to dip into the mental health side, it could kind of show up as depression, but a lot of times in Black women, it doesn't show up the same way.
right.
Right? Because 'Cause they're still going to work every day. They're still doing all the things. They're still cooking all the meals. But really the joy is low, the happiness is low, the peace is low because you're saying yes on autopilot.
Yeah,
But then
yeah,
you
and
look at yourself when you afterwards. You're like, "Man, why did I say yes to this? Why did I say I was gonna do this?" Right? That early morning thought that wakes you up before you really wanna even wake up is, "Here we go again.
mhm.
It's another day." You feel disconnected from your body. You like wound up so tight in some ways that you can't even really relax in the right way. You're fantasizing about canceling the plans you made.
Let me tell you something. I was talking to someone last week, and they ended up getting a text message while we were on the phone saying that something was she was like, "Yes, yes, I love a cancel plan." And so here's the thing: it's not a person. The person I'm talking about is not a person who does not like to do things. And
Right.
so I'm just like, "Hey, what about making
What does
sure
that
that?"
mean?
What right. So if you don't wanna do that, why are we doing something you wanna do? Why aren't you saying no? Why aren't you saying, "Hey, can we do it this way?" Why aren't you saying, I won't be at the whole thing, but I will pop through for this part of the experience
Mhm.
or whatever, like, but again, you've gotta have that internal love for yourself
Right.
to hold space for looking for the options, that allow you to meet your own needs and to communicate love or affection or whatever for your friendship circle or your family circle, whatever that may be. But those 2 things can live in the same space.
Mhm.
Those 2
Yeah.
things are allowed to be there. So once again, there's gonna be a link to this quiz at the bottom of this podcast episode, and you can go take it. Free quiz. It takes about 3 minutes, 8 questions. All right. So the next one is the exhausted saint. Now, y'all know
That ain't
that I
me.
can sit right there. She said that's not her. I can sit right there on that exhausted saint until Jesus comes.
Mm.
I can sit right there on that one because I have lived it. I have seen it. I have watched it. I have witnessed it. And
Been there,
and
done that, got the T-shirt.
been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And sidebar, before I tell you about that, let me tell y'all how rude Calvin was before we got on this podcast. This morning, Calvin was talking about a couple of people that are in, like higher figures that are not higher, like people that have strong followings on social media who identify as Christian, and she is mad that they're wearing peplum. She wants them to get a stylist. She
It's
said
irrelevant. How is this irrelevant?
peplum. I just want to know from our audience, is peplum out, y'all? Is anybody wearing peplum? I don't know. She said they need to go to Jay Bowling and get restyled because why are guys people still out here in the peplums? So y'all just let us know. Will y'all please let us know? Is the peplum, is it in or is it out? Now, I'm not wearing it
Peplum
right now.
is exhausted. The peplum is an exhausted saint. The peplum is tired of showing up for the people.
And so look. So but the thing about it is, I must say, I had a bad peplum suit. I used to have a bad. It was like a hot pink and black, and it had the jacket and the skirt, and it had the pepper. That I was
What
so
year
cool.
was it?
It was a while ago.
Right.
It was a while ago, and so I don't know, but I just wanna know, hey, will you please let us know if anyone's doing peplum well? If there is a designer that is still doing peplum and they're doing it well, would you let us know? And do y'all agree with her? Should the church folks put up their peplum? Should we move off from that right now? Okay, next. The exhausted saint. So, what the exhausted saint is experiencing is that she believes that in order to be close to God, she gotta be available. She gotta be available all the time. She feels guilty if she's not available. She believes that self-sacrifice is serving. Like, there is no end
Mm.
of her. She believes that she is El Shaddai. She's the many-breasted one, not God. She believes it's her. And so, what she's not gonna do is be found missing anything at the church house, missing any request of the pastor, missing anything that the church folks say they need. She is the one. Her body is drained, but she keeps telling herself, this is my assignment. I
Oh,
am
Lord, not an assignment.
my assignment.
Lord.
What she gonna say? This is what she don't really say it like I'm about to say it, but this is what Imma say. I say that she says, "I am a call to be exhausted.
Mm.
I am called exhaustion is my spiritual gift."
Mm.
That's what she does. She believes that to be exhausted is her calling, to be tired and overwhelmed is her spiritual gift that is making her close to Jesus because, hey, we gotta take up our cross and follow him, and she don't understand what is on the cross. Okay? But that's what
Mm.
but she is tired because she is spiritually burnt out. She
Yeah.
believes that slowing down is selfish,
Yeah.
and, she believes that she needs more gratitude to be able to endure and keep running her race. Lord, I'm running, trying to
Oh my goodness.
okay. But listen, that is not what God has called her to do. One of the things that I love about the Love Your Life podcast is that I believe that we are here for God's girls. I believe
Mhm.
that we are here to help God's girls. And, especially when I think about how I believe our God feels about us.
Right.
He is always thinking about us. He always has us on his mind. He is always looking for ways to make our way easier. It doesn't mean that we will not go through anything, but it does mean that he's going to make our way easier and we just have to receive it. But for those of us who will not give ourselves permission to rest without shame, what are you laughing at? Why are you laughing? What is so funny? What? When y'all watch this back on YouTube, she just breaks out into laughter for no good reason. I don't even know what she's laughing at. What is it now? What?
You said that God
What?
wants our lives to be easier, and I had this ridiculous thought.
Okay.
Y'all, I have figured out that I can warm up my car from my bedroom. I have a garage, so my garage door opener has like a little app, right? So I could open up the garage door with my phone and remote start my car. And the joy that this brings me, y'all, the joy that it brings me while I'm in my bedroom in my towel, walking around, air drying, whatever, that I can start that car up before I even go and get into a warm car, y'all. And I'd be like, "Thank you, Jesus, for my easy life." It's just like such a silly thing, but it's like the antithesis of this, exhausted saint motif, right? Because with the exhausted saint, she sometimes making something harder on herself than it even need to be. She could go get some rolls from the grocery store. No, she up here eating and going on because the exhausted saint is always the problem with the exhausted saint is she feels like she can't prove her love to God unless it's hard for her.
Woo!
So when you said make it easier, I'm like, I'm looking for everything to be easy. What else can I make? I'm like, what else can I make easier? Can I get this water bottle to fill itself? Like, what else can I make easier? Because this idea, like, why would God allow these things to be created that create ease and light and flow? And he want his children to suffer? It doesn't make sense. It just
It
doesn't. So it
does.
just tickled me a little bit when you said that, that's all.
I just first of all, I did not know that this woman was in her room pushing her app to let her garage door open and then remote starting her
It's
car.
my new it's legitimately my favorite thing right now.
I did
I
not know
at
she has this.
7:50 every morning, I'll be like, "Tuka, tuka, tuka, tuka." I love it.
I did not know that she was doing that before I did not know she was doing that, okay? But listen, we have had a winter in our state, and so it has been a lot of snow, and it has been very, very cold. And starting remotes, I'm like thinking, did she when she opened up her story, I'm thinking she just now realized she got a remote starter? I know she knows she got a remote.
No, I know that I have the remote starter, but I didn't real like, I literally have had this app on my phone for probably a year and have never used it to open up the garage, but I was like, "I wonder if I could do them 2 things together."
Well, here's the thing. The Bible says that the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but he came that we would have life. And when you read that, I think in the Amplified version, it says life to the full till it overflows. It talks about a super abundance, right? So if we know that the Bible says goodness and mercy will follow us all the days of our lives, why are we looking for things to be hard? Why would we not allow ourselves to rest? Why do we believe that to hate our life means we are closer to God? Why do we believe that? I just don't believe it. And you
Mhm.
do not have to give yourself permission to rest without shame. I mean, come on now, you should be able to do that. Furthermore, you need to know that your faith does not require your self-destruction.
My God, my God.
Like so many times you'll hear a pastor talk about dying to self, okay?
Mhm,
But
mhm.
but that does not mean that this is your job to do it in that way.
Right,
Ask God what that looks like for you and
right.
and go there. But for some of us, we just feel like, well, Lord, this will kill me. Being with these people will kill me. So let me do that. Because I know I'm dying to self now because being with these jokers are gonna kill me.
Mm,
No, that is not the way it goes. And so if you are that person who being around the people of God or being at church is no longer a joyful experience for you. You no longer know where you are at the end of yourself and where the beginning of you is. Then I want to encourage you to evaluate whether or not you are the exhausted saint. And I have been that person before. Being a part of a church system and a church culture that did not have room for your own personal identity, that did not hold
mm.
room for your needs. That I remember Calvin, I don't know if I shared this on the podcast before, but here I was, not pregnant, didn't have any children, and I was over the children's church ministry. We had a lot of kids at this church. And so for years, I was the children's church person, and Reggie was too. And so here we go. I remember one day I had to serve in children's church when it was not my day to be working with the kids. And I was like, well, where is so and so? Because I know I saw so and so. I saw her here this morning. Why is she not on her post? But I didn't know where she was. So I went on and did her shift, which means I was not in the sanctuary. I didn't get praise and worship. I didn't get the pastor's sermon, right? And so later on, I saw her picking up her child. And I
Yeah.
was like, where were you? You were on schedule today. She said, Sister Liz, I just really needed the word today. I just really needed it. So I just didn't get up when it was time for the kids to come back for children's church. So Sister Liz didn't need the word.
Apparently.
Sister Liz, who don't even have a kid in the children's church. She back there and you not, and this your kid?
Mm.
So I just if you find yourself being the exhausted saint, you might want to consider reevaluating your perception of God, but even along with that is your perception of you and how important you are to God because
Right.
you're God's girl. So yes, we may get tired, we may go through things, but that does not mean you have to make a lifestyle out of exhaustion and of sacrificing.
Right.
So those are the 4 archetypes. Did you find yourself on the list anywhere? Did anything pique your curiosity about whether or not this is something that applies to you? And if it did, like I said, go down to the bottom, take that 8-question quiz. It'll take you about 2 minutes, and then let us know if you found out some information about yourself. So here's the thing: you are not broken if you found yourself on the list. You are just experiencing a pattern. You're becoming aware of behaviors that might be keeping you stuck in a cycle that you don't want. But the great news is that patterns can be changed.
Patterns can be changed.
Patterns can be interrupted. And so one of the things that I love about the life that I live now is that I've interrupted the pattern. Like, I
Mhm.
know how to say no. I know how to prioritize my peace. I know how to experience things that I do want to experience in fullness and in joyfulness. Like, I can be fully present in those experiences that I do want to have, and I know how to decline the ones that I don't.
Right.
Um, I have ended some relationships with people who want to benefit from that pattern, but did not know how to support or be loving and reciprocal to me, in our friendship. If you want a confirmation of which archetype you might be, make sure to pop below underneath this podcast episode. Take the quiz, 8 questions, about 2 to 3 minutes, and get your information. And then pop in and let us know where you found yourself. Okay? So that's it.
Yeah.
Are you those 4 archetypes? Are you a go-to girl? And which archetype is running your life? Because it's time for you to take your power back. The end. Calvin, I'm done. That's the end of this episode as far as I'm concerned.
Ooh. She said mic drop. She said mic drop, y'all.
That's it. If you found yourself, just come on, get this information, get this awareness so that we can fix that in 2026. Because patterns can be interrupted and patterns can be changed.
Period. So we
Yeah.
thank y'all for joining us this week on the Love You to Life podcast. We hope that you got something good from it. We want you to do a couple of things. We're giving you homework assignments. And we want you to take the quiz. And we want you to share the quiz with the woman in your life because chances are she gonna find herself in there somewhere, and we want to make sure that everybody gets. The great thing about the quiz is it gives you some little tips at the end that you can kind of like, hey, this is how I'm gonna upgrade this real quick, like, right? So make sure that you take that and drop a comment and tell us what you are doing as you interrupt the patterns, because that helps all of us to do, our little pattern interruptions too. So thank you for joining us. Make sure that you check the description box around here to get the quiz, and also just stay connected to us on social medias. Then, tag us when you're doing things, or take a snapshot of it and tag us, all that kind of fun stuff. Because we like to see what you guys are doing. We want to stay connected.
We do. And we love y'all so much. Love you to life.
See you
Bye.
later.